All right. Welcome back, everybody. It's October something, 4th, the first Monday of October. And this is Aligning with Success. I'm your host, Mike DiMuccio. A little scruffy today. It's my weekend shadow. So, well, I know there was a bit of a preamble, but again, congratulations, Leo, on a stellar month. You didn't let this month slip by with 2 silvers breaking in the last 72 hours of them. 3 silvers breaking in the last, well, I meant in the last 72 hours. I think it was 2. And then, of course, 1 prior. So that's 3 in how much time on your team? You're muted.
1 in August and 3 in September.
1 in August, 3 in September.
Yeah.
And then we had,
for October, probably 2 or 3 more.
wow. Well, that's called duplication.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Somebody has to lead the pack. Somebody has to do the job. And I'm happy it's you because you're on my team. So there you go.
Thank you.
I used to tell people, stop calling me the #1 income earner in Canada, because as long as you keep affirming that, you deny that position to yourself. So don't do that. Call yourself the #1 income earner. Well, okay. Well, welcome back, everybody. I was just recapping on the audio or the video of last week, where we really talked a lot about your date with destiny and how to turn ideas, thoughts into actions. And without the actions, of course, there's nothing. And what drives those actions and the behaviors, a date with destiny. Since then, we had a month end. We had a kickoff call, which I hope many of you attended. If you haven't, you definitely want to listen to it and promote it. It was a very, very solid call where Royal Diamonds got an opportunity to share their reasoning behind an important event, such as the upcoming World Convention on the 22nd, 23rd of this month, and also what their connection, how they connect the dots from purpose to Nikan, how purpose relates. I had an amazing weekend. We had an event here at my place. Some of you may have seen a little bit of the video in the back, where we got a number of the team together from the new young bloods. And I shared a bit of information. I shared with them the information I've shared with many of you in the original presentations referred to as Aligning with Success. If you recall, I'll just remind you, structure leads to beliefs, beliefs leads to behavior, behavior leads to results, results lead to your vision, and ultimately that leads to your purpose fulfilled, if done correctly. But most people don't know that how you do that correctly is you start with the end and work backwards. In other words, you start with what's your purpose, to really reflect on that. And then to say, okay, well, if you understand what your purpose is, what really makes you you and alive, what would it look like if you were living that purpose in your vision of it today? That would be vision. It's something you can capture with images and words, and you can express in pictures to people. And then, of course, then what would be the milestones, the results that would line up with that vision? Milestones could be both personal and business. And I think it's important to have both. For instance, the milestones in our business is the incentive program and the compensation plan. Those are milestones. And if you're not achieving milestones in the business, then you're stagnant, which actually doesn't ever happen. You're kidding yourself if you think you're stagnant. My mentor taught me very clearly, you're either going up or you're coming down. There's no such thing as stagnant, because the world keeps moving forward. So you're either going up or you're coming down. So there's no such thing as stagnant. That's why it's important to keep challenging yourself to new heights, new levels of awareness, new achievements. What else? We have our personal results. What would results in your personal life look like if you were living on purpose? And then we go back from there. And that is belief. what are the beliefs that lead to, or excuse me, behaviors? What are the behaviors that lead to those results? And in the case of, for instance, Leo, we could, and we have interviewed him several times, different channels have interviewed him as to what is it that Leo is doing. And I wonder how many of you are actually doing what Leo's doing, because he hasn't stopped and he continues to ramp up and compound the results. So whatever it is he's doing, his behavior is consistently producing results that are the kind of results that we want to see in our business. You have a question?
This is on your Team Kaizen Zoom channel?
No.
Okay, well, can you send me the link? Because I'm trying to join.
theroyalalliance.com/live. Niken 1. Sorry, Sophie is joining us. Where was I at? Okay, so we have behaviors that align with results. The results are there. The behaviors are obviously clearly aligned. And then what would the beliefs have to be to support that type of behavior? And then we work backwards. Well, I guess if you ask Leo, what do you believe about Niken to be true? Do you believe Niken is a good opportunity for people to join as a business?
Join in on the excitement.
Do you believe Niken has great products that people should buy and use every day? Do you
Sure.
believe that people will join you in Niken if they learn about it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, what else? Do you believe that when you present Niken, that you're somebody who presents credibly, you have credibility, you have confidence? Yeah. So these are all supporting beliefs. These are all beliefs that lead one to believe Leo is in alignment with this truth, and that truth is in alignment with behaviors that are producing results. Now, structure. Structure is what gives us our beliefs. Now, if we actually look at the structure that Leo's put in place for his business, you'll find what I believe is a structure that imparts those beliefs. And that's what structures do. Structures give us the beliefs that we have. And many of us are dragging along beliefs and from structures that, quite frankly, are not even relevant. They're there. They may be even huge. They may have been around for decades, even centuries. But if you really challenge those structures in terms of the belief system they've given you, you've got to ask yourself, do those beliefs support my vision of the future or not? And if they don't, it's time to let go of structures, no matter how big, no matter how many people say it's the right structure. If it doesn't support your belief system and in alignment with your purpose and vision, what difference does it make what other people think? The problem with society is, the number one problem with society is you care about what other people think. That's your biggest problem. If you didn't care what other people think, and you cared more about what you think, and they in turn did the same, you would think on the surface, boy, that sounds really self-centered. That sounds really selfish. Really? If you were aligned with your true purpose, God's gift to you, then would you care about what somebody else's gift from God is for them? Would you not be happy for them? Would you not be supportive of them? Would you want not to be an example of someone in alignment with your truth so that they can in turn check in and get into alignment with their truth? Should we all be chasing false gods? Think about it. This is the most profound thought. And so when you are in alignment with your truth, your purpose, then the structures that you will find, invariably you will attract and you'll associate with are the structures that provide a supporting belief that encourages you to behave in a manner that's consistent to produce results that help you realize your vision. And if your vision is aligned with your purpose, and this is the caveat, if your vision is aligned with your purpose, then you are going to be fulfilled, which means your spirit is in joy. But if your vision is not aligned with your purpose, you're going to be lost, chasing fairy tales and chasing false gods and false idols and all kinds of crap that don't mean anything at the end of the day because you're not fulfilled. And so that's the saga of the majority of the population who have gone down a blind alley thinking they were on the right path, only to find out 20, 30 years later that they are not living the life they thought they would be living. They're not fulfilled. So it so much comes back to, what is your purpose? And who is guiding you? Who are you listening to that's encouraging you to go within? Seek within, go inside, connect with your true nature, your true purpose. Listen to the quiet voice, be still and know that I am blank. So if you really think about it, if everything stems from, all the fulfillment in our life is going to come from alignment with purpose, then that should be the first thing we're ever tasked with as children to figure out. Or at least it should be something we contemplate on a regular basis, because you get smarter as you get older and you start to realize some things are not really your real purpose. And you may have been misled. You know, your purpose was to have the castle on the sky, or, you know, have the long hair that somebody could climb up and grab onto and rescue you. You know, we've all had these images thrown in our face, what it looks like to be a hero and so forth. And we thought that was our purpose, right? Well, think about it. You know, we had a great experience this weekend because we had some people at the house. As I said, Sophia was on the call. Maybe you can chime in a second here. Where they had an opportunity to hear these words, to learn about this perspective of how to choreograph their life in a more meaningful way by going in reverse, starting with purpose, which of course I relate to always as balance in the 5 pillars of health. I mean, what could be more purposeful than that? And note that we've always had the word spirit at the center. I know sometimes people don't know what we mean by that, and it creates some questions, but I'll tell you what it means. It means I am that. And how it is expressed, that which I am, spirit, in this physical world, how it is expressed, first and foremost, is the body. You might say, I'm a product of my DNA. I may have gotten started that way, but that's not what I am a product of. If you know epigenetics, you know that your DNA is being coded right now. It's being written right now. You can get rid of cancer and it comes right back. How's that possible if it's new cells? Because the code is not in the body. It's not in the physical. The code is the non-physical. Your body's being manufactured by your consciousness, and your consciousness is either in alignment with health or it's out of alignment with health. Ta-da, the miracle of the world. So this idea of illness, sickness, and so forth stems first from our thoughts, and then it manifests in the physical. Kind of lost track of my thought, but spirit is what I am, and everything else is just a manifestation of it. My body, my mind, my family, my society, my finances, these are all reflections of whether or not I'm in harmony with abundance in these areas, or I'm in harmony or out of alignment with these things. So if you're finding yourself out of alignment in any of these one areas, the origin of the problem is not the circumstance. The origin of the problem is not the physical, meaning the circumstance you're in. The origin of the problem is the mind that created that, the mind that attracted that out of alignment. And that's no fault of yours if you recognize that in many, many ways over the lifetime you've been living so far, you have been misled. And in some cases, purposefully misled by people who don't want your best interests. But what would your best interest look like? What would you fulfilled look like in body, in mind, in family, relationships, in your role, your connection to society, in your finances, your material, what you've attracted materially? What would you fulfilled look like? I think it's important to ask that question. And then you start to challenge everything that's misleading you, everything that is taking you away from the fulfillment of that. What ideas have you fostered in your mind or allowed that are still operating, that are allowing you to be misaligned? For instance, if money is a problem in your life, guess what you have a problem with in your belief system? money. Where did that come from, that problem? You didn't create your own beliefs. You started by being born, and they were given to you by your family, by your friends, by your associates, by your education, by your religions, and so forth. These are things, by your governments, by society, by blah, blah, blah. Things are given to us, and we're so busy trying to absorb the world we're born into that we don't really have time to think for ourselves. Rarely does anybody have any time to think for themselves these days, especially now when you're being bombarded 50 different ways with, text messages, emails, Facebook. Thank God that got a knock in the socks today, and every other social media app that's telling you how to think, instead of saying, why don't you just turn everything off, be still, go inside, connect with your real you, and figure that out first before you start listening to what other people have to say about you and what you should look like and think like and feel like and so forth. Boy, I tell you, if we did that more often, we'd have a much more sane world, and it would be so much easier to identify the insane people, the psychopaths, because they don't connect at all with any of this. These dots don't connect for them. So, as I was saying, we had this encounter at our house where we had a number of young children, young folks, my children, but also young people in their 20s, who are actually, I think one girl was, they were in their 20s. And, it's interesting because they're getting an opportunity to think these thoughts at such an early age. It's not the earliest age, but it's an early age relative to most of us. Most of us haven't really come into this kind of stuff until later in life. Can you imagine if you had your 20s to do over again, knowing what you know now? Think about it. What would you be telling your 20-year-old self right now about these things? Think about it. Do you think that information would be useful? Now, would your 20-year-old hear it? That's another matter. But I mean, if you were compelling, if you were convincing, I think maybe, yeah. And quite frankly, if the current version of you was one that the 20-year-old would really, really want, in other words, a fulfilled version of you, if you were fulfilled at this moment in time and you were talking to that 20-year-old, and that 20-year-old could look at you and say, wow, yeah, you're the living proof of this. So I like what you have to say. It makes sense to me. So the responsibility I think we each have for ourselves, first and foremost, is to give people a reason to think that maybe we are onto something. To give people an opportunity to look at how we live our lives, hear the words that we say, the thoughts that we express, and they can see that we are either in alignment or we are out of alignment with our purpose. And not only can they see it, but they can actually feel it. Can you tell when someone's lying to you? Can you perceive that? They say that it's hard. It's hard to tell when they're very, very clever. But there's something about a sixth sense, that you've got this innate sense about you that can sense when somebody's not telling you like it is. And so, yeah, it's true for us too. People can tell when we're not being authentic. So being authentic means knowing yourself and being true to yourself. What other version of authentic is there? So imagine if you didn't know yourself, how could you be true to yourself? And therefore, how authentic are you? Pretty profound. I didn't think you were going to get into this. I didn't think I was going to get into this on this call tonight at all. Zero did I think that this was going to happen, but okay, I'm just going to go with it. Anyway, the point being is we have greatness that's waiting for us all the time. And it's a question of whether or not we are aligned to it. And that comes from us considering and contemplating who we are in reality. Who are we really? Are we really just physical beings that happen to be on a blob in space that was just a happen chance, 1 in 10 trillion chance of that happening? You got to make up your mind. I think it was Einstein who said, you got to decide, is the world here to help you? These words fail me, but I know it was something along the lines of, you got to decide if the world's out to get you, or if the world was here for you. You got to make that fundamental decision, because all your thoughts and convictions will stem from that. If you're a believer that the world's out to get you, and viruses are out to kill you and blah, 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 then you're going to just live in fear, and you're going to be that side of the equation. That side of the equation that does not know its source, that does not know its creator, looks at the abundance of the universe, looks up at the stars and is afraid that a star is going to fall on your head. I mean, think about it. What a crazy idea, but that's somebody who lives in fear, right? Or you can look up at the stars and say, wow, abundance, magnificence, awesomeness. It's like, wow, whoever put this together, whew, wow. And imagine that I'm among this. And it turns out that I'm one of the pretty special things among this, because I'm the one looking at that saying, I can see you and I can perceive you and I can perceive your awesomeness. And that's what makes me unique and special in this universe. Wow, who put me together? Good job. Amazing. Think about it. How do you perceive yourself and your self-worth? Do you think that affects how you go about your business in life? How you talk to people about getting involved with you in a business? Hell yeah. So, Sophie, I know you're busy eating, but if you want to pop in for a second and just give us a 2-minute version of your weekend and how I know she just got off her leadership call, and they had a bunch of things to share. But anyway, it was amazing to watch these young people put together their life cycle plans or their vision boards, and then share a little bit about what that meant to them. And I know for me, it was the first time I ever did it was with Niken. I was, I don't know, 8 days old or something like that. We had a Humans Being More, then called Silver, training here in Toronto. It was hosted by Niken, and the presenter, the facilitator, was Larry Prophet. And that was my first Niken experience outside of the products. And I just remember being in that room thinking, what kind of a company would do this for people? Like, I was just blown away. I was blown away that a company actually did this for people, like cared enough about people that they would go in, and you'd think, what's this got to do with business? And yet here we are, 46 years into Niken's future from its inception. It has everything to do with the 46 years. It's at the root of why we exist. The purpose of Niken is to help you align with your purpose, and then bring that and share that with others, and start experiencing and expressing that purpose through the multitude of ways that we do in Niken. What a beautiful vehicle, one that's aligned with purpose. And I think that's why 46 years have happened and will continue to happen. I don't think the products are what drive Niken. We say that, but there's a lot of great products out there. And many of you have already experienced Niken products. So it's not like it's something new for you. What is new is you. Every day, you're experiencing a new you. You're experiencing another side of you. You're experiencing a deeper, more enriched experience of you. And every day you challenge it, you're peeling another layer, and you're seeing another side, and you're exposing more of who you really are. And that is what keeps you going. That's what keeps you here. Because when you're done doing that, you're done on this planet. That's how it works, folks. So I believe that every minute of every day is with purpose. The question is whether or not you are awake to it. Can you look at the stars and be amazed? Or are you still sleeping? And you look at the stars and you say, I don't even know if they're real. They're lights in the skies. Maybe there's just a big thing they cast over the sky to make it look like there's something. Think about it. Crazy ideas. But some people believe the world is flat right now. Some people believe the world's out to get them. Some people believe, that we don't have a right to thrive, that there's too many people on the planet. Some people actually believe that. Now, where's the evidence of that? Oh, Mike, there's climate change. There's all kinds of changes. Really? Did you know that's happening in every planet in this solar system? Did you know that? Have you wondered why? Is it possible we're going through a place in space where this happens every like 26,000 years? Is that possible? That this is not man-made? Wow, where'd you get that information from? I'm a student of the universe. I pay attention. I don't buy the narrative. I'm not interested in politics. So, Sophia, are you going to pop in? Just want to hear your story.
No, I'm eating and I'm not plugged into my microphone right now, so I don't know how great the audio quality is.
We can hear you fine.
Apparently Mercury retrograde fixed my microphone because it's my microphone laptop has not been working for months. And I just realized at the end of our last call that it's working again. So I don't know what that's about, but I'm going to take it. I will pop on quickly. Hey, everyone. So yeah, we had our first ever team event at the house on Saturday, and we all made vision boards together. It was a lot of fun to just get together and like talk about our dreams, and to challenge each other to really think, to really get like clear about the goals that we want to achieve in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years. Because I think as important as it is to dream big and have like a general broad picture, it's really, really important to break that picture down into smaller steps, and to identify very clear and specific goals or experiences that you want to have in your life. I can show you my vision board because it's here with me. But yeah, we all got together. We got a bunch of magazines, a bunch of travel and lifestyle magazines. You know, a lot of people on our team, their main motivation is to be able to travel all over the world. So we saw a lot of that. We talked about a lot of the places that we wanted to visit. And we were actually just on a team call and we were sharing a little bit about like what are our expectations with Nika and what do we really want to create here? What's our vision? And it was crazy how all of us really had the same points that we were sharing. We all, and it first and foremost was a community of like-minded individuals. We all really wanted to feel that sense of belonging, that sense of like a team, that we're doing something that's bigger than us, we're contributing to something bigger than us. We all want to be able to have a business that comes with us anywhere that we go, to have flexibility with where we work. We all wanted to have work that feels like play and work that allows us time to go and you know, have our own individual passions. And we all were really passionate about contributing and like building this global wellness community, helping people have a more purposeful, meaningful, healthy life. So it's great when we actually talk about it and like say it out loud. I realized that we actually are all on the same page. Now it's just a matter of getting our actions where our intentions are. So that's kind of been our experience over the last few days. It's been great, just really getting clear on our vision, because as Richard Bliss Brooks said last week, that your vision for what you want has to outweigh all the things that you're avoiding. And that's what really caused us to do this exercise, you know, this weekend and in our call just now, because I realized that's been what's motivated me to work as hard as I've been working, to be as focused and dedicated as I have been, is because I have a short-term goal. I know where I want to be in 3 months from now. I'm very clear on that. And it's something I really, really, really want with like my whole being. So nothing's going to stop me from going after it and doing what I can today to get where I want to be. And unless somebody has that in front of them, there's nothing that's going to be motivating them to do the things they don't want to do, to get out of their bad habits and create new ones. So that's what I've been doing with my team. Like this week, even I have calls set up with each of them individually, and that's all we're talking about. Is like, what is that? Like, where, if Nikan could get you somewhere in 3 months, where would it be? What would it look like? What would it mean to you? Because when you have that in front of you, that vision there, and you've decided that it's yours no matter what, you're going to be willing to do anything that you have to do to get there, even the things that are uncomfortable, that suck, that you don't feel like doing. So yeah, I really took a lot from the last call, that the last Lining with Success call. And I hope that you guys will implement the same things with your teams as well, because vision, purpose is the most important. You have to be super clear on it, or else nothing else changes.
Thank you, Sophia. Well, there you have it. I couldn't have said it better. So I'm going to retire. I'm going to turn this call over to Sophia. Just kidding. All right. I think it's really, really important. And we talked about this last call. I said, what could you do differently? What if you made your mind up that you were going to do different? That whatever it was just going to be different. So I'm going to ask anyone, if there's someone who would like to share, what did you do different from that last call, or from when you listened to Richard's call? Because different is what makes different happen. Anyone want to share? Going, come on, jump in, guys. This is not a spectator sport. I want you guys in this. Nancy, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I got, actually, I must confess, I haven't had a chance to listen to your call or Richard's, but
Well, actually, Richard was my guest
on that call.
two calls, 2 Aligning with Success calls ago.
I have it in my day planner, listen to Michael D's call, and I haven't. But this last quarter, with the last 3 months, I found out I won Club Ki again this year. It's the second time this year. Thrilled out of my mind. And I really want to go to Dubai. So what Sophia was saying, suddenly I was sitting here, I shared it with the ensigns, they're my upline. And I thought, wow, it is amazing when you truly do make a decision, how the mind just jumps into, how is this going to happen? How is this going to happen? And so I have known this one person. My husband was a teacher and a coach, and she is a very successful CEO for a financial company, which I looked it up online. It's been around since 1918. Anyway, and she's on the Nike board of advisors and blah, 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 blah. And she just loves my husband, loves us. We saw her at a fundraiser recently. And I thought, I've got to call Thasunda and I've got to talk to her because I need her help. And I thought, wasn't it you talking to Bruce Black? Was it you or
Yeah,
Bo? You?
it was me.
Okay. And I thought, I need to talk with Mike about this. And anyway, so it is amazing. It's just like what Sophia was saying. Sophia, when you said it, I went, yes. All the other places, yes, I've traveled overseas. I've lived overseas. I've never been to Dubai. And I thought, it's going to be a stretch. It's going to be hard, but it's possible. Yes. Okay. I'm going to do something different. So there you have it.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Who had a great month end? Who took that advice and did something different? Well, folks, this is your opportunity to share. And if you're not, well, I'm going to talk about the actions in a minute. Madeline, I see you've unmuted.
I have. I promised I wouldn't talk tonight. This is the week of the year when I occasionally lose my voice. So it's been a wonderful time for the introspection that you mentioned. I've already been thinking a lot, knowing, looking at what it's been Club Chi every quarter since the Italy trip. Like Leo, I made a decision there. But what I've discovered is, even though I have a lot of new directs and executives on board, there still isn't one with the entrepreneurial mindset. So I had to look in the mirror. And watching the 5 of you on the kickoff call was a real lock-in event for me, Michael. thinking back on, all for most of the people that are listening tonight, I mean, in 23 years back in the beginning, those Team Diamond meetings with 13,000 in Portland, Oregon, and 10,000 in Atlanta, and the first trip to Japan. I caught that vision when I first saw that balance wheel, when I saw Jerry's response. I knew I was out of balance. And as you said, those of us that have remained, it's not only because of the products, not hardly with what we've experienced in the last 5.5 years. And so the call to action is exactly that. And there isn't anyone on here, you included, who any one of us who couldn't have, shouldn't have, whatever, but we don't have to do any of those couldn't have, should haves. It's like today, stick the stake in the ground and make the decision. It's all those HBM classes, the I over M, the 100 over 0, all the life cycle charts, I've my quiet time out, I pulled them all out, the theme and the purpose, and it's all there. It's just there, unfolding and coming out. So I look at COVID as a gift for us all, this time out. And we have such an opportunity, such a beautiful opportunity for the possibilities. And I don't remember who all heard whatever, but the 3 more years of chaos, didn't excite me at my 74th birthday here. However, and what has it been for the last 5 years? So I guess we could take a few more years while we're coming out of the chaos and into the possibilities. But it just feels so good to know that it really does only take a small group of like-minded individuals, and that's what's always changed the world. And so I am I'm glad I had my time out this past week, and it's been interesting, the synchronicity of the books that I opened. I was looking for my power of awareness after last week. I obviously gave it to someone else, so I found 3 other books. Oh my God, it didn't matter what I opened up, what I pulled out, there was the message, there was the page. I'm writing down all of these notes, and it was in silence and in my old long johns, using every Niken technology, to beat this cough. But it was just just a wonderful time out, and accelerated from after I couldn't go to sleep Friday night after that kickoff call. So it was really a kickoff call, isn't it? It was right before the beginning of the last 3 months. So a 90-day run for everybody is still possible. So that's a pre-launch before the last month of the year, but a 90-day pre-launch. So it doesn't matter what anybody does. If we do anything, anything in those 90 days, sponsor some new people, find new customers, get out, do something. So I want to thank you. Being part of this Launch Partners process from the get-go has been transformational. And maybe for some of us a little bit too much of being the student just sucking it in like a sponge, but the repetition is the mother of all learning. And it didn't matter what I opened up, there was something that, like when you read it again or you see it again, and what had been underlined before and in date several different times, all of a sudden it means something, that when the student is ready, the teacher does arrive. But what's most important is that little voice inside that says, just get up and, as good old Dave Rolfe says, do, D-O, just do. And I thought what was nice also, Michael, was I thought he threw a little peace offering to you about finally we could agree on something, and he didn't even use the why. So I thought that that Friday night call was very important, just like tonight's call. So thank you very much. And
thanks, Madeline. Always lovely to hear your thoughts. Is there anybody else? Because I do want to talk about something else. I want to talk about how I heard a statistic, and I wrote it down, because of all the changes that are happening and people being forced into this reflection like never before. There's at least 3.8 million people who are not going to go back to work. Now, what are they going to do? I was listening to Richard Brooke on a Facebook Live on Sunday. You would find that in my on my Facebook page. I just reposted his short video of his advice to new people just joining the industry, because they're joining at the rate of 400,000 a week worldwide.
Wow.
So where are these 3.8 million people going to go? They're going to find another way. And what is it that we represent another way? And they're going to hear it from somebody, because if they're worth their weight and they're seeking, they're going to find. That's the law. So they're going to attract a sponsor. That's what's going to happen. And many of these people are going to start their own businesses in a network marketing business, and they're going to find a sponsor. Now, if you don't have your fishing rod in the water, don't expect for a fish to jump out into your plate. That's not going to happen. So you got to have your lines in the water. You've got to cast your net. You got to get out there and start sharing this information and inviting people to explore, to discover NICAN. I mean, it's not an unfair thing to say. I'd like you to take some time and discover something with me that has been life-changing for millions of people across the globe. And these times that are trying and changing, this is a business that's thriving. This is now the time more than ever in its history, and it's got a 46-year history, which in itself is a miracle. So start inviting these people. And if you never had a reason to, this October, 30% profit on the table for anybody who becomes a customer. Now, I can tell you right now, I don't look for customers. It's not my thing. But I have customers. How do you think I hit Club Ki all the time? It's not because that's what I'm looking for. I'm always on the hunt for partners. I end up with customers as a default, because not everybody wants to partner, but some people see enough to know that these products are worth having. So if you take the time to invite people to explore this, use the tools that we've provided. There's some good tools now. For instance, the A Better Way link from the Royal Alliance page gives us a really nice condensed overview of NICAN. It gives them, I call it a 50,000-foot view. It gives them context for a conversation. And I really think that the conversation is the most important part of this, not the stuff on the web page. The stuff on the web page is just the bait to get them to at least nibble on the hook. And then the conversation that you have with them as a follow-up, or as a follow-up ABC call, which is even better, by the way, which is what my team is being taught to do. That follow-up conversation goes a long way to understanding where's that person at in life, because it's really only then that they might actually divulge what's really going on, and they might see and you'll hear a possibility for you and them to work something out. Knowing, however, what I know about this business, if you've ever watched any of my training on this, I use the reverse zigzag, the partnering process, to explain how to move people through the business. And on that, let me switch this so that the video has a nice, on that, there's a thing called a lock-in event. Now, every month we have a lock-in event in NICAN for a reason, because every day I want to turn contacts into interested contacts. Every week I want to convert those interested contacts into either customers and or consultants who are customers. But every month I want to find out who wants to play. Every month I want to determine from the group of consultants who wants to really partner up and launch their business. Somebody who's willing to invest a bit more time, money, and contacts. That's what I'm really on the hunt for. So this process is really designed for me to identify potential partners. And what I end up with is everything in between, including every now and then some partners. That's what this process is designed for. And it has 3 fundamental steps, these 3 conversations: why, how, and what. And most importantly, the lock-in event. The lock-in event is the event that shifts a person from being a consultant to being a partner. So if I know that there's a massive lock-in event, an event that's going to help people realize NICAN in the global sense, they're going to be invited to the global stage. And who wouldn't want to be a star on a global stage? You know, most people, I believe, secretly are waiting to be discovered, you know, like back in the old movie days. And they want to be discovered, and they want to be on that stage, and they want to have some success and so forth. Well, if you had a number of people step into this process this week and next week, leading them to an understanding of what NICAN's all about, and maybe how they could participate in it, and then you invite them to that lock-in event. Of all the lock-in events in the year, it's the biggest. It's the one that can land you the whales. If you did everything in your power in the next 3 weeks to get attendance at the convention, knowing, absolutely knowing, that whoever attends that convention as a prospect who's been informed, or even just joined as a consultant, because that'll be one of the steps in this process, they get to that convention, you're going to see the lights turn on. You're going to see somebody who's willing to step in and lean into this conversation in a much more dramatic way. I used to use those lock-in events, which Madeline was referring to, the Team Diamond events, which were once a quarter. I used those events to determine who I was working with in the next quarter. That's how I knew who I was going to work with, because I didn't have time to waste with working with people who are lukewarm. I just didn't spend the time with lukewarm people. Now you might say, well, that's being a little selfish or self-centered. No, it's not. It's being focused. It's being on purpose. If you look at my business today as a reflection of the choices I made, it's pretty hard to argue that I haven't made a huge impact. I think my methodology was quite successful, and it's attracted thousands and thousands of customers and so forth. So somebody has to lead the pack, as Leo is demonstrating. And how you do that is you start to understand the business process, and you start to apply the business process as if it's a matter of physics or mathematics. The I can't even pronounce anymore. Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So it's a mathematical formula, which means it's a mathematical certainty. And I know this is a mathematical certainty. I know this process produces results. And so if you know this, if you trust this, if you have a little bit of a quantum leap or a small leap of faith here, and you gear all your activities in the next 2.5 weeks to stack the deck in your favor for the NICAN convention, you're going to come out of that convention a busy person. Because those people won't need you cracking the whip. They're going to need you helping them figure out how to get their business launched. And then we can speak to that. We can talk about that. Maybe towards the end of the month, I'll hold a special event on this line at this hour to show you how to do that. I'll have what I call the what conversation, which is, how do I launch this business and really make the most of it? Because you're going to have some people who are going to need that information, provided you got them at the lock-in event. You get them at that lock-in event, I can assure you, they're going to be excited about NICAN in a very, very big way. Now, if you get customers to the lock-in event, they're going to like the products, and they probably already like the products if they're a customer, but I don't know that they're going to have enough information about the products that's going to change them into consultants. But if you have enough people who have the information preceding being a consultant or being a consultant, then that lock-in event is going to have a very particular effect on them. It's a shift from being on the outside looking in, or maybe having a toe in the water looking in, to taking a dive That's the effect it has. It gets people willing to take the jump. And that's what you're looking for. Why would you go into this month and go into November losing the possibility of Nikan's world stage event? I mean, why would you, if you're at all interested in this as a business, do not pass this opportunity. Don't let this event pass you by and not have had impact. It's like, you know, they're doing this event for the people who are going to take advantage of it. They're not just doing this event for the sake of doing an event. And you know people are going to take advantage of it. Why not you? So if you're not willing to do it for you because you haven't figured out who you are yet or why you're even here, then maybe that's what you need to spend the next 2 or 3 days. Shut everything down. Literally go into a state of absolute silence and start figuring it out. Because if that's what's keeping you from the greatness, then every minute of every day that you're wasting your time by distractions is a waste of life and you don't get it back. So I strongly urge you to get in alignment with what makes success possible. First and foremost, by knowing what it is that you want and who you are, because that's going to set in motion. That's going to create the need, the drive within you. Then I'm laying it down for you in terms of a business plan. Contact and invite people to discover Nikan. Let them explore that website, have a follow-up conversation, and decide what's the best move for them. Help them make that decision, and don't let the opportunity of inviting them to the convention pass. I bought 10 tickets. 10 tickets. How many of you bought?
One.
Is that you, Nancy? One? Well, you're expecting one to go. I'm expecting 10 to go.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's just a different level of expectation. Which one would you rather have? So create the space. How do you do that? You said it yourself. Make the decision.
Mhm.
Make the decision. You know, it's like 10 bucks a ticket. It's a joke. It's $100. But you know what? You move, the angels move. That's how it works. You move, angels move. You sit there on the couch looking, nothing happens. Nothing changes. You move, they move. So you need to be moving. You need to be making some moves in the direction toward what it is that you say you want. You got to prove not only to yourself, but you got to prove to your maker that you actually want what you say you want. My favorite line, still to this day, say what you mean what you say. So we started this conversation, I think, tonight with the idea that the biggest problem, the biggest challenge people have is you think you care too much about what other people think. So let's get back to that. What if you didn't care what people thought? You didn't look at it as a return. You were not looking for accolades. You're not looking for a pat on the back. You're not looking for somebody to say, oh, you made a good decision by getting into Nikan. What if you weren't looking to you? What if you just didn't make it about you? Because that's what it means when you're worried about what other people think. That's not about other people, by the way. That's totally selfish. That's completely self-indulgent and self-absorbed when you are worrying about what other people think of you. What about if you just didn't worry about that? What about if you just aligned yourself with the truth and your job was speak the truth and let it go? Speak the truth and let it go. Then all you were doing was being a conduit. You're just sharing truth. You're just sharing with an open heart truth. People will hear you. Not everybody, but some. But you won't be concerned with who doesn't, and you'll just keep doing more of it. And you will experience what every one of us who've had success in Nikan will experience. People do listen. There are people listening now. There's people right now, believe it or not, at this very moment, on their hands and knees, saying a prayer, hoping for something to fall in their way that will solve some of their needs. they're going to find it because that's how it works. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and it will be open unto you. So they're going to see it. It's going to come their way. The question is not whether that's going to happen. It's going to be whether or not it's you, whether or not it's what you're offering. So get that net, cast it. At least get a rod in the water, a hook in the water. I mean, that's all I can ask you to do because it's the only thing we're here to do. We're here to empower people, which includes us. And that doesn't come from being silent. It doesn't come from being conservative. It doesn't come from being introverted. It doesn't come from being self-centered. It comes from being courageous. It comes from being a giver. It comes from, I don't know what the words are, but be generous. Be generous out there and don't make it about you. Don't make it about what people think of you. I could care less what people think of me. It's none of my business what people think of me.
Serve and love others.
Serve and love others. When you're doing that, it's all outpouring. It's all outflow. I think it's Dave Rolfe who likes to talk about that. Somebody likes to talk about outflow. And they're right. They're right. It's all about outflow. The return comes because that's the nature of the universe. That's the law of the universe. You don't have to worry about gravity, do you? Do you have to worry about gravity? Like if you throw a ball in the air, do you have to worry it's not going to come down? No. Gravity takes care of gravity. So the laws of the universe are just there. And you don't have to worry about what's going to come back because it's the law. It's going to return to source. So put it out. Give it effortlessly, give it abundantly, and it comes back the same way. But when you give it with hesitation, when you give it with concern for self and what will people think and so forth, how do you think it's going to come back? It's going to reflect that. You're going to hear exactly what you're worrying about. That's how it works. The law is still transparent. It's simply a mirror. If you understand that, what you're getting is what you're giving. So if you're not happy with what you're getting, just take a look at yourself and what you're giving. Well, that was more of a sermon tonight than it was a motivational talk, or I don't even know what. But okay, there it is. There it was. We got like 3 minutes. Anybody want to wrap up?
It was a good sermon. Loved it, every bit of it.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, well, let's do it. I mean, we keep talking about it, but put the numbers on the scoreboard, guys. We got a convention. We got a convention to celebrate who we are, why we spend the time that we do every Monday night here, and every other time we do when we're doing anything we can. We got a reason to celebrate. We really do. So, like I said, there's 3.8 million people who right now are not celebrating, and they're looking for what we got to celebrate. So come on, let's get inviting. What's the worst that can happen? They call us crazy. I've been called worse. Doesn't hurt me. Feather off. I'm more concerned about what my creator thinks about me than what anybody else thinks about me. So that's where my concern lies. And I think it's probably the right place, you know, alignment with purpose. When you're aligned, everything's right. Everything works out. Right. Leo, again, hats off. Way to go, my friend. You're killing it. Love it. Do you have any of your silvers on the call, by the way? Are they here?
Not tonight, but the next one, she's on the line. Mikhail, she got to be silver this month, October.
All right. Well, Mikhail, I look forward to seeing you there you are. You're awesome. You're in great hands.
Thank you. I am. I truly am. I'm inspired every day by Leo. Really, I'm honored.
Fantastic. Way to go. Right on.
Leo,
Well-
how many silvers since last December? You had some at the end of last year and more earlier this year. Have you counted?
September 3 on September and 1 in August.
No, December, from December.
Last December, from last December.
7.
Very good.
Not too bad.
Not
All
bad.
right. All
Congratulations.
And I went to Dubai, and I go to Dubai.
And he's qualified already for the trip to Dubai. So
Yes.
Now
That's
Barb
awesome.
Satterwhite qualified already too.
Exactly. And you.
Yes. I'm
So-
coming up.
Well,
I
you
need
know
to-
what? This is the first year though that's happened way early in the year. So
Yep.
what does that tell us? You know, when we first saw these incentives, we're like, oh my God, they're so huge. Who's going to do this? And now we're seeing it done before the year's even up. So yeah, see,
And the incentive trips make a difference because Leo, Barb and I were in Italy together.
yeah, they
And
totally
Mike.
do.
Yep.
They totally do. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. And please share if you thought this was a useful event.
Thank you,
Bye,
Mike.
everyone.